Good evening. The Who's today in Sydney were on at Rosehill. It was Silver Slipper Day. Silver Slipper Day. Gee, it was a pork. I know the weather was terrible, but fair dinkum. It was a very poor crowd for a Silver Slipper Day, um, and with plenty of good horses racing. You thought there would have been um, a lot more people there, but just the usual handful of the regular punters in the marketplace. It's a shame to see, but that's how it is now. Um, Now, of course, the track was heavy, downgraded. Well, I'm not going to give any figures, but and the rail was 6 metres out, and there was just a light to start off with for the first 3 or 4 races, a light southeasterly. I did swing around a little bit to a bit of I don't know what it was, but possibly a southwesterly. Um, and there was rain. There was rain, light before the first, but there was during race 3 and before race 3 there was a good shower, and then we had a bit of a break, and there was come the last, there were showers off and on during the day in between race 3 and race 8, but the last there was good rain during the last race, and anyway we'll get to what happened there. As I say, it was a tough place in the marketplace today, with plenty of runners unlayable. In this first, now the track played, well, the last race came along, of course, in the pumper, with 3 kilos off of the pumper. He came from last straight along the 18 pence and never left it. Up near the lead seemed to be the place to be, and a bit off the fence. But as I say, the pumper, all the rain in during the last race, he stayed right along the fence, which he's done before, tied up against it, whereas the winner, it came widest on the turn. There was a length between them when they hit the line. So what do you say about the inside? Was it a little bit more? Was it a little bit inferior? Possibly, and maybe just the middle of the track could have been the place to be. Anyway, this first race, now they said there was 102.4 on the screen in the marketplace. In this marketplace, we only bet 94%. Now, number one, would the owners of SEDCOM please step forward, please? They forgot to turn up at the Who's today. It only went from $3.50 out to $8, 5 to 2 chance out to 7s. Didn't have a price. Catwalk Corey said it was a bit disappointing. It was galloped on, and the weight and the heavy track they said was against it. The betting told you it was something was against it anyway. Fibrillation, $13, bet about it early, into $10, started 12. Single, it went from $4.40 or out to $5.50 given, back into $5. Bellow, bookies reach for Bellow, they're bellowing after the last race, after it won. It went from a $3 chance out to $3.50 into $3.20, hard to get at the death. Hoyloni, $4.40 out to as much as $5.50 given about it. Started only $4.20, a 13 to 4 chance. And Vadashan, $8 out to $10. Vadashan, and he had a picnic on this winner. Bellow, he had time to throw out the blanket on the turn and have a cup of tea, because he had a stroll in the park. Josh Parr went straight to the lead on Bellow from the inside alley. Vadashan sat on us outside, and the race was on from just before the turn to the winning post. They came home in 34-32, and it won by 2.5 lengths. Bellow at beating Hoyloni, who came from, after missing a kick by a length and a half, 2 lengths, came from last on the fence in between runners, but was safely held. Fibrillation ran third, who sat third on the fence behind the leader. The winner had everything to go its way, plus it loves the going. In the second race, 102.4 on the screen. In the marketplace, only 96%. These were the flux. Al's Gold, $6 out to $11, back into about $8.50. You laid 10 monkeys about it at one stage. Sailor's Farewell. Now, unfortunately, Sailor's Farewell didn't have a price. Now, here's 11% of the market, which just didn't exist. It went from $4.40 Sailor's Farewell to $9. Didn't have a price. Coup Acclaim went from $3.50 out to $5, back into $4.60. Test a Guy, it went from 20 out to 40, back into 30. It's being retired after today. It finished 25.5 lengths last. Another runner coming up from Melbourne was Ladrums. It went from $12 out to 17. The winner, the import, who's only had one start in Australia up at Newcastle, where it ran on well. $4 given about this runner early. It was snapped up everywhere they could get on. They killed you for the $4 and the $3.80. At one stage, this runner was into $3.20 clear favourite. It got out to start $3.50. It chased the leader, rivaled. The Big I Am went from $7 out to $9, back into $8, and rivaled. It was one of the first runners back from $10. It only started $7.50. And as I say, rival led. Didn't run along as fast as it looked, but it led by a good 3 or 4 lengths at one stage, or 5 lengths maybe, to the winner, Hathras. And tailing Hathras was Coup Acclaim. They came to the turn. The winner went out after the leader, got past it quickly. Coup Acclaim by that time had dropped off, and it was up to the Big I Am, who came from second last, to run down the outside, but beaten very easily by 3 3/4 lengths, 3.8 lengths. The winner absolutely trotted in and was doing by far better than anything on the line. It looks to have a bit of ability and will most probably pick up another race shortly. Race 3, they said there was 102.8 on the screen and the neat 100 in the marketplace. The flux were Permit, $10 out to 11, back into 10, but back out to start $12. Pelicano, now this winner led all the way, and this race was run in a nice shower of rain. I thought Josh Parr, Jovial Josh, made the mistake here of not going straight to the front on the favourite, Frozen Rope. But I thought he would have crossed when the turn was looming up the first bend, but he didn't. And Father Schofield on Pelicano, trained by Tony McAvoy, making it 3 wins in a row now. It was taken straight to the lead. It led and kicked up inside the favourite Frozen Rope on the first turn, and he got away with a nice stroll in the park, but keeping the others at bay, making sure that they didn't come up on his outside. One runner, Gazaguru, did make a mid-race move and came and sat on the outside of him, but it didn't pressure him very hard. And Pelicano, it opened up $5. It got out to as much as $7 and it was into $5.50 at one stage, but got back out to $6. A little A, 5,000, 1,000 at one stage, plus a stack of other bets. Now, Frozen Rope, it went up a $2.25 chance, 5 to 4 the field, and quickly was reached for to $2.80, and it was into $2.40 at one stage. They kill you for $2.50. They returned at $2.45 SP. When you jumped, a blind man could have had $2.60. I was $2.60 when they jumped, and I think if the betting would have gone a little bit further, it might have started longer. But it was $2.60 when they jumped, but at one stage they'd kill you for the $2.50. It sat third, second early, and then third after Gazaguru went and sat outside the leader. It's very one-paced, Frozen Rope, and maybe if he would have led and controlled the race himself, he got beat 1.7 lengths. You never know, he might have won, but he mightn't have either. But it's I suppose where he sat, he did the right thing. I'm most probably having myself on. Carry Me Bluey, It was hard to lay. It went from $5.50 out to $7 back into $6.50. Gazaguru, 20 out to 26 back into 21. Capers, very well back capers, and it made up plenty of ground. It went up $10, but only started $7.50. Court Connection, $9 into $8. And Myamira, 60 out to 71. And as I say, the winner led all the way. There was plenty of rain, nice thick shower during this race. And when they turned for home, Father Schofield manoeuvred himself to the middle of the track and held an advantage down the straight to win by 1.3 lengths, coming from second last, making up plenty of ground. It was Capers, as I say, who was very well backed, but very safely held by the winner on the line, and the favourite plugged into third hole, beaten 1.7. They more or less all had their chance. Race 4, now this was the worst all day, figure-wise for the captains, 97.2 on the flux screen. So you knew it was going to be no good in the marketplace. 93% only in the marketplace. Now the winner, Catkins, it sat just behind them, and its flux went up a $9 chance and got out to as much as $11, but it was back into about a $9 chance, or maybe 10, hard to get. Got back out to 11, but that was taken again and started $10. We get down to Night Exemplar, stablemate of Charge Account. Now Night Exemplar went up a $3.50 chance and got out to as much, you wouldn't see it, but there was $4.40 given about Night Exemplar, but it started a $4 chance. At one stage, I did lay plenty against it, at least 6,000, 7,000 against it, $3.80 at one stage, but it started $4. Golden Sunshine, it was the best backed in the race. It went up $4.40, got out to $5, and was backed extremely well. I laid it well at $4.80, and it started $4.20. Now, the opening favourite, this is where this race was no good unless you caught Charge Account on the way out, which I suppose some captains did. I, unfortunately, haven't put its name in the ledger yet. It opened up a $2.40 chance, and it got out to as much as, it was $4 at the finish of betting begging. So it was 11 to 8 to 3s, and extremely hard to lay. Villa Splendido, well backed, $12 into 9, and very similarly with Charmonte, it was $11 into about $9.50. Extremely well backed. And as I say, Catkins, it sat just in behind, tucked in behind the pace. There was only the field of 6 runners, and when they turned for home, the leader, Golden Sunshine, it was able to get clear, but it's not real strong, Golden Sunshine, and even though Catkins was on this inside, it wasn't going away. And I must admit, at the furlong pole, I was quite, well, not positive, but I thought, I said there's a good chance at Catkins, even though it was resuming from a spell here, will go close to getting the cash, and it did. It finished up, was too strong for the leader, Golden Sunshine at the death, at the finish, beating it by 1 length, and they got right away from the others. It was 4 lengths back to Viva Splendido, who had barrier 1 and came along the inside from last position, but still well off the fence. The winner was a strong win. Bit of an underrated runner, this little 3-year-old Catkins. It's very, very genuine. Charge Account, they say it failed to handle the heavy conditions. Race 5, now there are big discrepancies here. What you could have got, it always pays to come to the races. If you're punting anywhere, you've got to make your dollar go as far as you possibly can in this climate. On the track, if you're a keen shopper, you can make your bets. Every time you back a winner and you get over the odds, when you get the top odds about a horse that wins, of course, that little bit of extra that you win, it goes a long way to keeping you surviving in this game. And on the screen, it said there was 108.3 on the bookies gave, but there was only, I counted, about 95%, a lot less. Now this is what I saw in the ring. The visitor from Melbourne, Curosio, it was $7 into $6.50, back out to 7, but that started only 6. Whiskey All Around, $12 given, only started $9. Never Can Tell went from $5.50 out to 7, back into $6.50. Regimental Pride, 40 out to 61, back into 40. All the Talk, I gave $17 for a lot of section, 15 out to 17, back into 15. Charlie Boy, you think the captains didn't reach for this quickly? Charlie Boy, it went from a $3.50 chance out to as much as $6.50, started $5.50 Charlie Boy. Citations, early in the betting, they would pin you to the floor if you gave $11 about Citations. It was $15 on my board when they jumped. Now the winner, Sweet Idea, it was $6.50 out to $7.50 given on the fence. Only started $6.50, well backed. Brilliant Bisque, it was 14 out to $17 I gave. I didn't want to miss it. Back into about $14. Romantic Moon, it was backed from early in the piece, $15 into 13, hard to get, but got back to $17, and then it only started 13 again. Trump, they took $51 into 41, and the bottom one, Shahad, was a bit hard to lay, 21 out to 41. Now, from barrier 1, Curosio, ridden by Corey Brown, it jumped well, and also jumping well was All the Talk, and Corey explained to the Stipes that Curosio just pulled its way up on the inside of All the Talk and was travelling well underneath him on the bit, so he just let it run, and they did. At one stage, they were a good 4 lengths to the third horse and winner, Sweet Idea, who most probably has done a good job because it more or less took the field up to the 2 leaders who had gone fast up front, and coming to the turn, Sweet Idea, ridden by the pumper, of course, 3 kilos off for the pumper. It didn't carry 54.5. It only had 51.5 for the pumper, and they came to the turn, and he was into Sweet Idea. He was making it chase the leaders, truly off the bit, but it kept on grinding away. And it held on well, coming from midfield closer to the fence, weaving in between runners, getting away from the fence, and as I say, weaving in between runners, was the visitor from Queensland, ridden by R. McMahon, who apparently, after jumping fairly awkwardly and copping a bit of a prat or causing a bit of interference at the start, R. McMahon is a very talented rider, lost one of his irons for a few strides apparently, but he regained it, and it did make up plenty of ground. It only got beat 0.3 of a length. It was another 2.3 lengths away to Charlie Boy, who also copped a bit of a check at the start and in the run. Had some minor speedy cuts, but it found the line fairly well, Charlie Boy. It went all right. But the winner and the second horse were possibly the best 2 runs in the race. But as I say, they did go fast there. But the winner was off the bit chasing them coming to the turn. So its run was good. Race 6, on the screen, they said there was 104.1, and in the marketplace, only the neat 100. This was the Hobartville. Now, we found that Piero got the cash here, the Avery, just beating second pick, Rebel Dane, by 0.1 of a length. And Nash really pushed Piero out to the line to just survive. Piero, now, well, I've told you what the percentages were. Piero went up $1.75 chance and got quickly out to $1.90 taken. I was $1.85 like an absolute fool when they jumped, laying it, but plenty of $1.90 given. They returned at $1.80. I was $1.85 when they jumped, and it has got the cash. Now, it's a done deal. Geez, I'm glad it didn't win, and it found the line very, very strongly. It was completely off the bit, going nowhere at around about the 1,000 metre mark or 900 metre mark, and it really found the line. It's a done deal very strongly. It was $16 a $14 chance out to I gave 18 and laid plenty of section against it. It took out a lot of section in my book. Tatra 40 out to 50 back into 30. The stablemate to the winner, Procia, it was an $8 chance out to $9.50, but only started $6.50. It ran third, had every possible chance. It chased the leader, Mulazem. Then we got to Ashakan. It was 30 out to 50 back into 40. Rebel Dane, a $4.60 chance out to $6 back into $5.50, very hard to get. Honoris, $100 to $151. Mulazem, the moody runner from Melbourne, who led and ran along fairly quickly. It was very hard to lay, $9 to $13, 9 out to 13. Proverb, who found the line all right, 60 into 51. And Solomon, it was always a $101 chance. As I said, Mulazam went out and led here and ran along. Procia, stablemate to the winner, Piero, looking at it. Inside Procia was Ashakan, and looking at the stablemate was Piero. And inside Piero, coming to the turn, was the second pick, Rebel Dane, who missed the kick by a length and a half and had to put up with going on the inside section of the track and failed by 0.1 of a length. And they got away from Procia, who was 2.9 lengths away in third position. Of course, Rebel Dane had the one run back where it was a sensational win last start. So I suppose it had a fitness advantage over the Avery Piero, but Piero will have to keep on improving, because this little Rebel Dane is as true a trier as you'd find. It's a nice little Neddy. It was a huge difference to me. I wanted the second horse desperately. Race 7, there was 105 on the screen, but only 100 in the marketplace. And this favourite, Red Tracer, just as well have got home. I think Nippy Nash would agree. Just 2 strides before the post, he didn't drop his hands by any means, but he thought he was home by, a half a length, and he had to just push it the couple of strides to just last. Just hang on and beat the runner, giving up on this inside. Very similar to the race prior, because the risky aversion ridden by McMahon had slid up on this inside and just failed to get there. But the favourite was able to hang on. The fluctuations in this race, we put it up a $1.50 chance. We'll have you 2 for 1, Red Tracer. It got out to, at the finish of betting, was the best price. I, along with one board at least on the fence, was $1.65 when they jumped. At one stage of the betting, the $1.60 was killed for, and I think even $1.55 might have been laid on, but it was $1.65 when they jumped. Crafty Earner was very liable at $18 at one stage, started 16. Ladies Angel had to get out to, went from $7 out to $9, liable at that price. Risk Aversion, it was always $31, but I laid it well for the place. at about $4.60, and it started a lot shorter than that. Dreyfontein, it went from $6 out to $8, but only started at $7.50, and it was very label at $7.50 at one stage of the betting. It held on all right. Alanya it got trapped 3 wide in the run. It was 50. It was 50 into $40. Alastine, no, it was always about a $31 chance Alanya Tide. Alastine was 50 into 40. Ominous Quality, it was 50 into $26, and the bottom one Floor Show was 60 into 31. A good section about the bottom 4 runners at the top odds. They were all backed. Why wouldn't you when bookies only give 100%? But as I say, the Avery got the cash. It led Dreyfontein. I own the lead. On its outside was Alastine. Tucked in behind them from barrier 1 was Red Tracer. And on its outside, Ladies Angel. When they turned for home, the leader got to that 5 and 6 off the fence. Nash didn't have any room to go around the leader's heels, with Ladies Angel keeping it there, and also Alastine sticking on for a little while. So he had to go up inside the leader, and he got, I suppose, the length cleared one stage. It looked all over, but coming through off his back was the second horse, Risk Aversion, and only needed one more stride, and it would have got the cash, but it wasn't. The post loomed up. Look, on my website there's an article about when you see the head-on at Rosehill all the time, it amplifies what I wrote about how you can get beat in photo finishes at Rosehill if you're the horse on the outside. The bend looms up very quickly. Just after the winning post, the track turns fairly sharply, and as you see, when you'll see the head-on, you'll see that the horses on the outside, they're better off keeping the straight line, because as you're veering in towards the winning post, as it looms up, you're losing the inches that count sometimes when it is a difference between winning and losing. And of course, Red Tracer shifted in, and I think Nash might have done it also on Piero, coming in a little bit instead of keeping a straight line, and he has just lasted. The punters cheered Nash, of course, and but he did veer it, come into. It happens every time at Rosehill. You'll see what I mean when you see the head-on shots. Now that was about that race. Ladies Angel, who was in the 1-1 position, he stuck on for third, and Dreyfontein ran fourth, beaten 1.8 lengths. They got away from the others. They all had their chance, more or less. Race now that was race Dr. Devon. Now we come to Mary at the Cottage, and the last race, and this was the pumper at his very best, as I was saying to you earlier on. He came from last along the fence. He was always going to be last along the fence, never left it, and got through and won by a clear length, beating Australian Star, who came from third last, widest on the turn. Now, on the screen, there's another big difference here. They said there was 107.9 on the screen, but in the marketplace, it was just a tick under the 100. These were the flux. Now, we had a Gister opening up $10, getting out to 14, back into 12 at one stage, but started $15. Joku, it would have been a huge result for the captains. Now, I was 101 when they jumped. I haven't found anyone that I think I don't look at the ledger. I remember all the bets. I can't remember anyone backing it. It was 101 on my board when they jumped. Now, Keith's Legacy, it started $4.20. Now, at one stage, you could fill your bag at $3.80. I had to wind it off. It was $4 out to $4.20, back into about $3.60 or 70, but back out to $4.20 when they jumped. Moroni Avenue, well back, $9 into $8. Now, Whitlam, a bit hard delay until I got out to the $6 and the $5.50. It was $4 out to $6, back into start $5 when they jumped. Raceway, who will not now be allowed to run on wet tracks apparently, or heavy tracks. It was backed. It opened up 15, but got to $26. Backed by one of the pros into 21. Australian Star. Now it went up an $8.50 chance, got out to $10. It was back into $8.50 and hard to get at one stage, but got back out to 10 at the finish. Altered Boy, a huge result for the captains. We put it up safely, knowing that it's a very good wet tracker. Altered Boy, plus resuming from a spell and trained on the track by Chris Waller, and also with the 3 kilos off for Jay Cassidy, it came in well, and we put it up a $12 chance safe, but it got out to as much as $18 and $19 when they jumped. A big result for the captains. Toy Dinny, very well backed, opened up $8.50, got out to $9. Started, they killed you for the 9 and $8.50 at one stage, but started $8.50. Kimberly Kidd, extremely well backed, 26 out to 31, started $17, hard to get. An Eminent Domain, another runner, extremely well backed. I didn't want to miss it. I gave as much as 16. I gave 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. They took my 12. It started $11. Eminent Domain. Just as well, I had the car started in the car park if it had won. Now, as I say, the pumper won the race coming through on the 18 pence. Leading on the fence was a Gister. Well, leading anyway. He got to the middle of the track, turning for home, causing a bit of interference, Ishikawa, and unfortunately he copped a little holiday over the interference he caused. Sitting on its outside was sitting on its outside was Raceway, who unfortunately dropped out in the straight beaten 14.3 lengths. Well, there was the runner in the race, which raced without any cover. Even wait till I have a little drink of this. It's straight whiskey. Now, Dewars, of course, Kimberly Kidd. It was 26 out to 30. Now, what was I saying here? This race, yes, it got to the middle of the track when they turned for home Magister, and the pumper, he never left the fence. He railed like a greyhound, and whereas Australia Star, who was sitting in about third last, fourth last position, he came wide on the turn and was beaten a length. They more or less all had their chance. Kimberly Kidd raced without cover, wide in about the fifth position, which wouldn't have helped it. That was about the meeting. It was a shame there weren't more people there, being one of the lead-ups to the Slipper, or Silver Slipper Day, and the Hobartville Stakes race, and so forth. It was a good meeting, but the weather might have kept a few people away. Anyway, if you were playing, I hope you had some luck, and we'll talk to you later on. Good evening.